I'm going to explain multiple hour-long quests and put it into one video. Neverness to Everness starts off the action immediately. A hypervortex appears in Hetero and destroys New Helios. The game doesn't waste any time. We see exactly how destructive these anomalies can be. Just looking up at this anomaly drives you to insanity. Not even protective gear can save you. The first characters we meet are an elite group of espers, or people that have special abilities. This is the Enforcement Tactical Division, or ETD. Inside of the Eye of the Storm is our main character, Esper Zero. It is completely unknown to why or how they even got here. It's a classic main character with amnesia. Inside the Hypervortex is a biblically accurate looking anomaly, and it gives a warning.
The time has come. Stop interfering.
And just like that, the Hypervortex is gone. Baisong, the leader of ETD Group 4, takes us in, and after a few weeks of observation, we get sent to the Bureau of Anomaly Containment. This is where we meet the director of the BAC, Alphard. Alphard wants us to sign a contract and help contain Code Zero, which was that angel anomaly. Esper Zero has a special connection and perception of anomalies. They sign the contract, but at the same time, an anomaly escapes. It's fine, it's a low-level threat, so we help Mint contain it. What works about this prologue is that it's a good look at showing the different powers that anomalies have. This particular anomaly is able to create its own domain called an anomalous realm, so we get transported to the supernatural version of Hetero. What makes NTE stand out from other gacha games is how it uses horror aesthetics for its world building. This prologue also shows how not every anomaly can be defeated by just hitting it harder. This anomaly wanted to be appreciated, so when Mint compliments it, it gets contained. Mint takes us around town and we meet the agency that we're working for, Avon Antique Store. We meet Hattori, the owner of Avon, Adler, her butler, who has been taking care of her since she was a child, Daffodil, who's a character that had a ton more lore that I didn't mention in my previous video to avoid spoilers, Edgar, a bookish esper that can find information from any database, there's Nonali, who's a girl that's obsessed with gangster media, we also have Sakuri and her oddity Kirimaru. There's also Tagido. Don't worry, he has a whole chapter dedicated to himself. We're working as Avon's appraiser. The first mission that we see with Avon is an anomaly in a Photoshop. Similar to the anomaly with Mint, this anomaly creates its own realm, but we can only beat it by fighting it, which we do. As a reward for beating this anomaly, Avon gets a free photo shoot and we all JoJo pose. It's a good moment. As a prologue, it's a solid introduction, and I love the Avon crew as a core group. Tagido wants to impress this female oddity called Tako. She's leaving Hetero, so Tagido wants to take her on a date before she leaves. He also happens to lie about being a powerful boss for a powerful anomaly hunter group. At the very least, it does a good job at showing how ride or die Avon is for each other, because this was a whole group effort. They go to so many lengths to help Tagido look impressive. The first half is the appraiser and Adler helping Tagido shop for his date. He gets a new suit, but the important part is the Imaginado, which is an anomaly that is sold as a product and can be molded to look like another object. The second half is the actual date, and honestly the best part is when Nonali puts on a fake mustache and pretends to be part of a rival group. It's really silly, it's just fun. There's even a reference to Naruto. For one last grand gesture, they go to a romantic spot. Tagido gets all the Imaginado that we bought and creates a sculpture of him and Tako. It's cute, then it turns into a giant monster that attacks everybody. At the end of the day, it's fine, but the problem is that this is a mission that's unlocked when you reach a level threshold. It is kind of underwhelming, but it does get better, I swear. Pawn Moonlight is not a main story quest, but it should be. This is canonically our first commission with Avon, and it's the first time that we're first introduced to Stereo Express. The appraiser goes to a bookstore to get Adler a copy of Anomaly's Guide. While at the bookstore, we run into a strange man. Back at Avon, they get a commission for a missing person, a perfumer named Toshi. After some investigation, we find this strange bird anomaly and a strange dog. To find more information, we go to Stereo Express, a delivery company, and an intelligence agency. We meet the head of Stereo Express, Ji-Yuen, who tells us that the bird anomaly appears in a manga, and she gives us the author's address. Outside their home is a young man looking for his dog, Dandelion, who also appears in this manga. It turns out that the manga artist visited a store called Pawn Moonlight, and she got inspiration after she saw those animals in the store. Pawn Moonlight is run by twin brothers and offers the ability to grant wishes for a price. The greater the wish, the heavier the price. That's not the only weird thing about it though. This pawn shop also doesn't have a set location. According to Edgar, it's located in an anomalous realm that requires a specific condition to enter. Back at Avon, there's a chef that made a wish with Pawn Moonlight and is unhappy with the price taking its toll. He sold his sense of taste for his dream. The chef tells us to go to Greenwall Slope, and the gang start to make wishes hoping that one will open the door. It works, but they get separated. Pond Moonlight is this really trippy realm that uses paper screens and shadows. There are some times where it reminds me of Infinity Castle from Demon Slayer. Not only can the appraiser find a room of items that were used to fulfill wishes. When an item is used, the wishes contract is activated, and the price is going to get paid. It's revealed that the chef knew exactly what the deal was. We also find Toshi's ticket. There's a lot of NPCs in the story, but he's the perfumer that we were sent to find in the beginning of the story. But his contract hasn't been used yet. It turns out that the guy from the bookstore was one of the owners of Pond Moonlight. Atro and Sakuri get into a fight, but the fight gets broken up when Toshi, Dandelion, and Mismo enter the realm. The chef had actually brought Toshi to Pond Moonlight in the first place. Toshi sold 20 years of his sense of smell for a scent that would go down in history. But he changed his mind and he didn't want to achieve his dreams this way. The chef wanted to take back what he lost and kidnap Toshi so Toshi wouldn't snitch. The chef went to various agencies to find a way to destroy Pond Moonlight and break his contract. Mismo had saved Toshi, and he was the one that we saw in the bookstore. Now, why do they have Dandelion? Dandelion is actually a powerful anomaly called Morphix. The thing is, they never took him, they met by pure coincidence. Dandelion had found the twins and let them use its den. The realm that Pond Moonlight exists in was created by Dandelion, and was the one that set the requirement that only a strong wish can open the door. How the twins are able to create objects that grant wishes is unclear because they don't want to share how they do it. According to them, there's no Esper ability in the world that can grant wishes. Edgar's theory is that one of the twins has some kind of exchange ability that can form the contract, while the other twin has some kind of summoning ability that ties into the wish part. Hattori mentions that twins with Esper powers can have a powerful resonance with each other, but it's rare. Also, if the price isn't paid, it seems that Atro is the one that pays the price. Now that Dandelion found its owner, the twins are leaving the city. They're leaving in such a hurry, and they're hiding a lot more information, which makes me think that we're going to see them again. If we do, it makes it even more confusing why this is a side story. Now, before they leave, they give Sakuri a gift because Sakuri's wish was the one that opened the door.
I hope that I will find a place where I belong, and it won't abandon me.
Really interesting character moment, and I really hope we get to explore more of her lore in the future. The chef wants to sue Abon, but Hattori isn't a pushover, and she has the BAC arrest him. Best boss. Stereo Express wants the appraiser's help with an auction, and Hattori wants to join in. The plan is for the appraiser to verify the authenticity of a high-level anomaly being auctioned. This anomaly has precognitive abilities. The only problem is they need another invitation, so Jensen hires an Esper to create a copy. The problem is, it sucks. To complete the copy, we need to find a different invitation to swap it with. Luckily, there's a famous singer that was invited that also has a fan meet the next day, so he's our target. Is it a little convenient that this idol happens to be carrying his invitation on his person for an event that's happening on a different day? Yes it is. Don't think about it too hard, look at the cool motorcycle scene. Now that that's out of the way, we go to the auction and Hattori is having a great time. She gets some drinks and bids on some expensive artifacts. At Jensen's expense, obviously. The actual item we're looking for gets revealed, and the appraiser confirms that it has a strong anomaly fluctuation, so it's legit. However, before we could bid on it, time stops and gets taken by a mysterious anime girl. Hattori can also control time, so she snaps us out of it. The thief triggered security by unleashing other contained anomalies after she left, so we can't follow her. The security anomaly wants our help, which we need to do because our forged invitation has a time limit and we can't get exposed. Boom, 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 we contain all three. The auction house tries to use us as a scapegoat for the stolen item, but Juyuan is able to talk our way out of it. Even though the thief escaped with the artifact, Hattori still wins. She gets to keep the items she bid on, and she was able to verify some information. It's a good reminder to put some respect on Hattori's name. She's elite for a reason. Phil from the auction house is talking to a mysterious man that wanted Abon and Steri at this auction. It's also revealed that these items were related to the Prophet. Phil also mentions a group called the Fraxinus. Whoops, sorry, wrong group. We also get one last moment with Junyuan, who gets a message that the Scarlet Letter organization intervened. Don't worry, the Scarlet Letter is relevant in the next chapter. This chapter is a pretty big shift in tone for the story because things get way more serious, and we see how the plot of NTR is starting to NTR. That's something completely different. This chapter is a pretty big shift in tone for the story because things get way more serious, and we can see how the plot of NTE is starting to shape out. This chapter starts with a creepy puppet being delivered to Abon. Yeah, no. Instead, we call the joint task force to investigate it. The appraiser goes with Hattori and Daffodil to the BAC. This is when they meet Lavinia and Chaos. It also turns out there are several other puppets. Each puppet has a different name and a black card with them. Back at Avon, a woman named Renee needs our help because a cloaked figure attacks her every night at 9 o'clock. She's here because her friend Fuka recommended her to them. Fuka says that Daffodil had helped her and her family in the past, but Daffodil has no memory of that. Fuka gives her own experience with Renee and the cloaked figure, but Daffodil senses that something isn't quite right. Before things get too tense, Renee defends Fuka. Once it gets close to 9 o'clock, we see the anomaly that's haunting Renee. We protect her, but we don't defeat it. It also drops a black card with Renee and a number on it. It's the same card that the BAC is investigating, so we call Chaos. He suggests that we go to the witch's house to get some guidance. The anomaly that's stalking Renee, or Debt Collector as Nonali calls it, is a rule-based anomaly. This anomaly has a strict set of rules that it follows. When this anomaly type has a goal, it is extremely difficult to contain. It seems that somebody else is behind this and is targeting Renee. Blackbird tries to perform a divination on Renee, but it doesn't work. There is something strange about Renee's fate, but Blackbird experienced this with another woman in the past named Dolores Constantine. Dolores made some kind of deal that gave her immortality. Immortality meant that she had no lasting bonds and it made her lonely. What she wanted most was companionship. Chaos visits Avon to show them that somebody made a copy of the card and left it in Renee's mailbox. The only person that could have seen this black card and made a copy was Fuka. She's also probably working with the person that sent Avon the puppet. They want Renee to go to the old Constantine family estate. Nonali, the appraiser, and Daffodil go with Chaos to investigate. The only thing that they find is a crooked tree. A tree that Renee remembers climbing up when she was a child. This memory is the trigger that pulls us into an anomalous realm. It also resembles the Constantine family estate, but again, we get separated. The appraiser and Renee run into a strange woman that's setting up a dinner table. On the other side, Daffodil and Nonali are in the estate as well, but it's old and decrepit. The appraiser and Renee find a party going on in the estate, and Renee remembers the name Bella, which is also one of the names of the puppets. Bella is actually Renee's older sister. Throughout the chapter, Renee learns more and more about who she is. This whole mystery is over an hour long. For the sake of simplicity, I will just break it down instead of explaining how the appraiser and Renee found out the truth. Dolores is tired of people only wanting to use her for clout and money. Like Blackbird said, she wanted companionship, so she created puppets to bring them to life. These were her children and Renee was the youngest. When Renee was born, the Debt Collector was created and it started to hunt down her family. As a kid, Renee wanted to live forever to spend more time with her family. Dolores gives Renee her power of immortality, an anomaly called the Eternal Present. As Bella puts it, Renee's selfishness is what cost the family their lives. This realization is what causes Renee to feel shame and guilt. This is when the appraiser knows that something is wrong with Bella. Renee sees a vision of the night her mom gave her the gift of immortality and how her mom died shortly after. This is what causes Renee to surrender that gift and Bella takes it. This isn't Renee's sister Bella, this is Zonko, and the appraiser fights her until everybody joins. Zonko escapes because the Debt Collector also joins the fight. There's a lot that happens, so let me explain. Zonko is part of an organization called the Scarlet Letter, and she has the power of illusions. She manipulated and gaslit Renee into giving up the Eternal Present. It's not clear how much of Renee's memories are a lie. This is what I do know. When Dolores created Renee, she used the last of her life force and should have died. But the Eternal Present protected her. By creating life and not dying, this is what caused the Debt Collector to manifest. It's just trying to correct the natural order. It wasn't Renee's fault. Her family loved her. Dolores does give Renee immortality, and that's why she's protected from the Debt Collector. The Scarlet Letter are also responsible for the theft at the auction house. Daffodil was part of the Scarlet Letter before she joined Avon, and they were her adoptive family. As for Renee, she visits Avon and has a new perspective on life now that she lost immortality. It's not clear what she's going to do about the Debt Collector, but she leaves Heathrow to travel the world. This chapter starts with Nonali feeling depressed after Daffodil got hurt in the previous chapter. Daffodil is still missing, and the BAC doesn't want Avon to get involved with what she's doing. To help Nonali feel better, we spend the day at a resort where bioanomalies and people can coexist. The Sunward Resort is a place where people can adopt an anomaly and be a guarantor so anomalies can integrate into society. While we're there, we're greeted by Roy, and she shows us around the resort. The resort is home to a lot of cool anomalies. Anomalies are one of the coolest parts of NTE's world building. We see fish that have a shared memory, bees that collect drowsiness to make a honey that's a sleep aid, and a lot of other unique creatures. Nanali wants to become a guarantor because she has a feeling that she was friends with an anomaly in the past, but for some reason she can't remember. Unfortunately, she's too young. The good news is the resort sponsor Inanna is on site, so Nanali goes to ask if she can make an exception. She can't, but Nanali can be a future guarantor, which means she can't take the anomaly home, but she can visit every day. Nanali finds a teddy bear anomaly and immediately goes to make an agreement with it. This happens way too fast, and even the appraiser is concerned. But Nanali is in a good mood, so they move on. They leave the resort and find Daffodil with the girl from the auction, Poinsett. Whatever good day Nanali was having is completely ruined. The next morning, Nanali is gone. To help find Nanali, we go to the witch's house and she hints that Nanali is back at the resort. However, we call Adler because the rest of Avon went to check and she's not there. There's also no record of an agreement between Nanali and that bear anomaly. The witch also sees a fog, echo of waves, and a giant object. She even warns us that there are more and more people that have been coming to her to find a missing person. The missing people that return also act differently. The appraiser goes to the resort and Edgar believes that Nanali was taken by a tee bear. Let me explain. There's an anomaly called a cuddly bear, and they're known as the childhood friend anomaly. A tee bear is a variant that harbors hatred for children that have forgotten them over time. Nanali was friends with the cuddly bear when she was younger, but has forgotten. The tee bear shapeshifts into what Nanali wants, so she saw a tiger, which is why Nanali was so quick to sign an agreement. We track down the tee bear and we find out that it was following Nanali and the appraiser the entire time. It snuck into Nanali's room and promised that it could take Nanali to find Daffodil. The tee bear is the one responsible for the rise of missing persons. The appraiser is pissed off and fights the bear. Afterward, a fog appears and the appraiser is sent into an anomalous realm. This realm matches Blackbird's vision. The appraiser is in the Corridor of Echoes, and this is where we meet Time. She reveals that Nanali is with the other Dreamwalkers. Dreamwalkers are people that have cast away their emotional baggage and live in the past. The appraiser sees a pink tiger and follows it. The appraiser goes to a hospital, Inazuma, a frozen wasteland with a head for a king. It's really weird. We cut to the Scarlet Letter and see Inanna, who is the villain. Once again, they are hunting for something. The appraiser meets a kind-hearted girl that gives us a kaleidoscope that can see through illusions. When we look at the sky, we see that it's full of eyes watching us, and I hate it. This girl lives under the watch of her adoptive mother, who she hates. This kind girl also takes us to Nanali, who's sleeping under a tree. This is when we get Nanali's backstory told to us in a storybook. Nanali's parents are gone. It's not clear what happened to them, but they're not in the picture. We see her friendship with the Cuddle Bear anomaly that takes the form of a pink tiger. We also see how she got her powers. As she grew up, the bear anomaly left, but she made new friends. This was the original Kolichi family. However, those friends drifted apart because of life. She then meets Abon and the rest is history. Nanali is motivated by her desire to be stronger. Daffodil taught Nanali how to fight, and this is why she's so attached to her. For Nanali, being strong means that people in her life won't leave her and she won't be alone again. The appraiser is able to help Nanali through this doubt that's causing her emotional crisis. I like this section a lot. The story is told in an interesting way, and it gives good development for both the appraiser and Nanali. Now that we've found Nanali, it turns out that Time was the one that created this realm and is trapping people. The Corridor of Echoes was created so people don't have to face the present or the future and just live in the past where they were happier. Do you get why she's named Time now? Time then replaces the people with doppelgangers that don't have this burden. The appraiser then fights Time both physically and philosophically.
No more sailing into the past. All of you are meant to move on. Time, you should try like the others. Carry your anger, sadness, frustration, and regret. Then behold what lies ahead with those teared up eyes.
This is actually one of the coolest scenes with the appraiser. Before we fully defeat Time, the Scarlet Letter appears with Daffodil. Time is weak, and Nanali has only recovered half of her soul, so we can't fight. The realm is powered by this thing called the Helm of Theseus, and the Scarlet Letter take it. We find out that the kind-hearted girl we met was Daffodil in the past. Okay, let me explain her backstory. Daffodil's parents worked for Miss T, who we know as Inanna. They rebelled against her, so Miss T got rid of them and adopted Daffodil. She raised Daffodil to be a weapon, but when Daffodil learned the truth, she tried to eliminate Miss T and escape. She thought she succeeded, but didn't. it's clear that Daffodil is working undercover against the Scarlet Letter. She wants to finish what she started. Those fish anomaly that we fed in the beginning of the chapter also help us escape. Don't think about it too hard. We tell Avon what happened and help Nonali recover. There's a nice moment where the appraiser actually does some self-reflection, and it's a good moment.
Family. Since when did I see Abone as my anchor too? My past is a blank slate, yet I can still find the courage to face current and future challenges.
Nonali is still recovering, but it's not all bad because Hattori and Alphard talk about following a new lead in the investigation. One last lore explanation before we end this. Time is an anomaly object that took the form of her previous contract bearer, and is known as a dimension visitor. Time is really an astrolabe that can guide others to discover hidden treasure and so much more. The villagers had worshipped it until they were forced out of their home and forced into a cruel game. When the last contract bearer died, the anomaly felt a sense of loneliness and wanted to escape. This is what created the Corridor of Echoes. The anomaly then took human form and began to guide others towards their own escape. That is the story of Neverness to Everness summarized in one video. If you like this and want to learn about other gacha games, go check out my other videos. I'll see you guys next time. It might be a week, it might be a year.